This is RiverTalks with Jonathan Brush, President and CEO of Unbound.
This might be a little raw because I've had some recent experience with this, and so I'm still kind of buzzing from it. But I wanted to comment on something that I've seen a lot, I've heard other people talk about, and then it got personal for me today. That is, we live in this massively connected world with instant information, and part of the problem of that, and there's lots of advantages to it, but part of the problem of that is that all of the world's evils and problems seem to be immediately in our face. Literally, they're showing up on screens like this and in audio like you're hearing. And so, the atrocities, the evil, the terrors that are being perpetuated on fellow humans around the world are instantly impacting your life because you're hearing about them. Sometimes you're seeing it. And in an age of the internet, you're often seeing unedited, unfiltered, raw footage of horrible human depravity. And no matter when you're listening to this, there's examples that you can think of right now that are proving that point. And so what happens is we spend a lot of emotional energy being really stressed out and upset and saddened by things that we can do nothing about. And there is some level where it is good to be aware, and it is good to be in solidarity with those who suffer. And yet there's a part of this where I want to just be blunt and say something that's happening a continent away, something that's happening across an ocean, indeed, something that's happening in another state, something that's happening in another county that is terrible is none of your business. And I mean that seriously. In other words, it may be at some level good for you to have some awareness of that. It's not healthy for you to have a deep emotional involvement with that. Now, let's state for the record, as always, there are exceptions. God sometimes moves our hearts to have a particular tenderness towards a certain subject, that something breaks our heart in a unique way, and that is God calling us out of our situation and into another situation. And obviously, history is full of such examples. And so, something is happening overseas and you hear about it, it uniquely impacts you, and you find yourself overseas dealing with that problem. Well, that's a good thing. That's a noble calling. And that is certainly a possibility. It's also an anomaly. It's a rarity. It's not the normative experience. And so if you experience such a thing, well, praise be to God. Honor that call. Follow that call and take action as necessary. But for most of us, when we hear about some atrocity, some terribleness that happens far away, even one state over, it's just that. It's an atrocity. It's a terror. It's a bad thing that's happening someplace else. And being aware of it's good, but worrying about it, agonizing over it, being upset about it is bad. All right, so what am I saying here? Chill out. Don't worry about other people. If it ain't happening to you, smile and be happy. Partly. But there's a reason that you should do that. It's because you are saving, you are shepherding your emotional energy for where it counts and where it matters and where you need to spend it. And where you need to spend it is in your backyard, in your neighborhood, in your community, and in your zip code. Because when bad things happen there, looking away and as absolutely traitorous, that's why you're there. That is your responsibility. That is in your neighborhood. And you do have to take it personally, and you do have to react to that. And I said this is visceral because just today, there was an evil in my neighborhood, meaning that in my local community, there was somebody who was suffering from a lie to start with, and then suffering from a lack of resources, suffering from a lack of connection, experiencing pain and about to experience more pain. And this was not somebody on the other side of the world. This is not somebody in the other state. This was somebody in our neighborhood. And that's when you need to get riled up. That's when you need to get righteously angry. That's when you need to take extreme action. And today was a day of taking extreme action. It was a day of counting costs. It was a day of looking at resources and deciding to spend them in different ways, to deny things that we needed to be able to provide for somebody else who needed them more. It was a day to talk about connections and to talk about people that we knew that could help get things that we couldn't get. And ultimately today was a day of wearing out our knees, of praying for God to intervene right here, something that we knew personally, and to pray in this way and say, God, there is something that has to happen here that only you can do. So please do it. But there is also something happening here that's close to us. So please use us. Allow us to be the hands and the feet of Christ. Allow us, show us, equip us, move us, point us in a direction because we can do something about this. And it was also a day where we said, not in our neighborhood. The demons are not welcome here. This is not something that we can abide. This is not something that we can tolerate. This is something that we need to take action on. This is something that we need to do something about. And if you've spent all of your energy worrying about people someplace else that you could do nothing about, you will ultimately not be ready to take care of the things in your neighborhood that you can do something about. That's why you're there. God didn't put you there accidentally. So don't get distracted. Don't get deluded. Stay focused and be ready to respond and to take action on the things in front of you. That's why you're there.